So this is part two, and we left off at build you up, knock you down, and why some of these people in higher positions are this way is because they rely on this and they don't think for themselves. So when it comes to trying to coerce somebody else, such as myself or maybe you, you'll notice a lot of people dying that have similar something maybe you just talked about the day before, and somebody will end up dead with a similar name or name of a street or a number or something, but there'll be some similarity towards your life and a conversation you've had, and that's just a coercion method. So these are all people, and these are people usually that have used this, so they don't actually think for themselves. So uh, that's one of the downfalls is they pretty much uh, own your life. They can kill you at times when they feel like it. So that's basically the that's basically the first part of the voices, and then the second part would be the physical aspect. So you hear these voices, and you go through this trauma. Then you become somewhat hypersensitive. So you can become nervous, anxious. Uh, there's pain, lack of focus, and I think a lot of you have mentioned those. And those can just, you know what? It's just sheer willpower. And somebody else actually said that too. It's just willpower and sticking through it. They're just trying to basically coerce you into changing your behavior. They're trying to modify your behavior, and they're using all these different methods. And pain is one of the methods they use. And that's usually after the voices and your hypersensitivity. You might notice, you start noticing a lot more things, just like the conversations that you might think, oh, excuse me one sec. Just like the conversations at first, you think there was your place was bugged, but it's not really bugged, and now we know that they're using mental telepathy or something, some kind of to do this. And the second part is you might notice everybody's giving you the finger or something. So that's just become a hypersensitive, and they can make you try to look at certain things, and you become hypersensitive, and those really stand out to you, or else you'll notice a lot of this, and that's just in TV shows, and you'll see that in everyday life too, and that's just another control mechanism and make you a little bit paranoid. And so the pain response, the physical pain response, is actually somewhat real. Somebody had mentioned something about. Hold on a sec. And frequency sounds, the hum of the light, uh, mobile phone charging, fuse box, and that's why I took apart the furnace. Well, not the furnace, the vent, because every time the furnace would kick in, those voices seemed louder and clearer. So somebody else had a similar experience, but I was at so the physical responses, and those can be real. Somebody mentioned something about a electromagnetic something, and they will try to give you headaches, pains, parts of your body. And what they'll do is, if somebody says, so if you have a conversation with somebody, they'll say, oh, you know what, my back really hurts, and then they'll try to make your back hurt, and then you'll be mad at your friend. um, so it's just another control mechanism. They're trying to turn you against everybody, trying to isolate you. So it's actually a pretty long process. uh, let's see what else we have here. Anyway, my understanding are the link to psychic ability, sixth sense, ESP. They can, you can. We've joked about the ESP thing because they do tell you things at times, and times they're not true. So, uh, it tells you things about people that they wouldn't want you. Yeah, it tells you secrets about people, and they might be true, they might not be true. They might be making a fool out of you, or else sometimes those things are true. So it's like most everybody else said. It's like sometimes they're true, sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're just fooling with you. Sometimes they'll even put visions in your head, like they've shown me my co-workers who are obviously straight having sex with each other, and it's just visions. They'll implant these things in your mind, and it's kind of amusing, I guess, but at the same time it's. And when you get that hypersensitivity, you also everybody doesn't appear the way they actually appear. I think some guys know this technology is going out there, and they become part of it. They're gladly join it because it makes them look really good, so they go out and get laid. That's one of the things one of my the voices told me is like, I can go to the bar and you can sleep with anybody you want. It's just just this seeing if you would actually do that. But some guys actually are like the company who is doing this to you. They're helping these guys because of the because they go along with it and behave a certain way. They make them look really good, or they're messing with some girl's head at the bar, so they'll end up sleeping with them. So it's something to be careful about out there. Okay, and there's something in your head, and that there's something in your head. Yes, you will hear voices in your head. It's like that. If you I already told you about being John Malkovich. If you listen to the Gorilla song, "Sunshine in a Bag," it clearly says it says, "Oh, you appear in movies and songs and whatnot," and so you might start noticing some things like media. Like those voices that are coming from electronics and whatnot. If you and people are talking, like you think the place is bugged, but that'll transfer over to the media because they're just people on that are on the TV, just like the people in your life, your friends, family, coworkers. So they'll start talking the same way, and then the radio will start talking the same way. They'll start telling you the things you did that morning. Same kind of deal, right? Same thing as the voices were doing, and it's pretty annoying at first. But you know what? You can't stand up. You just have to say, you know what? Stop this. If you keep doing this, tell them that there's consequences, and those consequences do come true. Believe me, I've said that to just about all of them, and those things do work. So if you're able to stand up for yourself, and they will keep trying to do it to you, but just keep standing up. And whether you think it or say it out loud, I know saying it out loud, you wanna might sound a little crazy talking to yourself, and these. And another thing about the voices is when they start going in your head, they want you to start talking. They want you to verbalize what's going in your head. That's a way of conditioning you to be brainwashed. So don't try to resist to say those things out loud, because then once they make that connection and you start saying the things they're saying in your head out loud, then you'll just be like everybody else, just saying those things. So it depends on what you want to do. Basically, this is to isolate each person, and I think this is how people end up killing a bunch of their coworkers or a bunch of their friends or a bunch of their family, and you see that all the time. Or their kids, they just go crazy and kill their kids because they just brought the little baby from the home from the hospital, and the baby starts talking, and so it's just you got to be careful what these voices are trying to do. But you just gotta have to have a rational mind of what's actually happening. And the pain, some of the pain is actually real, and that they're just using that to modify your behavior. Uh, and here's that the voices are paranormal visions. Yeah, they put visions in your head. It's like that Simon and Garfunkel song, "Vision implanted in my brain still remains." But there's lots of reference to voices in songs and whatnot. So we know this, and and throughout culture, and some of you guys have mentioned this. There's all sorts of mention of voices. So those are actually real, which kind of makes me question Jesus. But at the same time, I'm not going to get into people's personal relationships about with God. Uh, People may act like others. That's where you think it's paranoid. Uh, and distraction. So basically, they're distracting you. If you're hearing those all the time, they're trying to distract you. It's hard to do your work. It's hard to even drive down the street. You might end up hurt or something, or in an accident, like I said earlier. Noises from machines amplify the sound. Already went through that, and then I asked why I'm and calling you a slut or challenging your sexuality. That was the first phase part after they go through doing everything, and then there's actually so we've done the first part where it's like they say every aspect of your life. Then your friends and family start talking like you think the place is bugged because they're all talking the same thing, where you just had a conversation, somebody else is having the same conversation when you walk into a different room or the next day. And then there's actually then there's the physical, the pain and whatnot, nervousness, appetite. You might eat too much and get fat. It's basically a response they're trying to do. And then also there's the physical. Like the police actually were harassing me for about 2 years. They would be everywhere, and so were company trucks with certain logos on it, and they try to take control away from you. So basically, they're trying to take control away from you, saying that they can control your life, so you don't have a sense of control over your life, which can be very frustrating. Far as like a work situation or whatnot, saying where are you going to go to work and what, but it's just what, it's just it doesn't really equate to anything. So you can actually just say, say some. There's consequences every time you do that. And like I said, if you've gone through this, those consequences will come through, and they will start learning their lesson. Religion, that's one of the themes. Bipolar. I've had a bunch of friends. I've had a bunch of friends around me that have gone through. I would say a similar situation. They've never talked about it. This is the first time I'm talking about this. They've gone. I have a previous friend who was said they were bipolar, so I think they went through a similar situation. A lot of them, and they just don't know don't know if they what actually happened to them. And one of the news and like the news stories that might be similar to your life. Uh, okay, India. This is interesting. Indian witch doctors have been known to kill people this way. Science calls bioelectromagnetism. So I'm going to jump a couple of pages ahead, which is really interesting because I found a friend of mine's, Sonny, who has just recently passed away. He was 35. He had a heart attack. He was out of shape, but but and he made a comment on here about he thinks there was a voice of God. So I'm going to assume that it's the same person because as I attended his funeral, the he was East Indian, so the guy up there, the Gyani they call him, or the priest, was talking in Punjabi, and they said he was himself. So you know this whole himself thing, and himself. I don't know if you guys know the whole himself. He was himself, and the voices were after him. That's what this guy said, and he was a religious leader. And here's I've highlighted it. It says Sunny Sani, and it says something about I think it's a voice of God and something where in the legs in Indian religion. So it's kind of strange that a friend is dead. So I do think with all the of the pain response, I think he was murdered. Basically, I think this is how they killed him, and I think that's important to stay in shape and keep physical and keep fit because if you don't, then that's how they get you. That's how that your pain tolerance is so low that you'll be willing to do anything. Basically, they're using pain to control you. So, but I think they can kill you this way, and it is possible. Uh, Meditation is good, and it's just you know what, you have to kind of just listen to it and don't let them change your routine. If you're gonna go and work out, go work out. Don't let them stop you from living your life. That's basically what they want to do. See if they can make you into a basket case, make you stay at home and not shave and not do anything and not clean you, not wear deodorant and not clean your place. Don't clean and live in a pigsty. So they're just trying to see what they can do to you, but they really can't. Just don't do what they say and go work out because don't let that. Once they're done with that, they're gonna try to do the physical pain and try to do that. Uh, yeah, immoral or illegal things. See if they're doing it. Some of those people are willing to do that, and that's why you see some of these crimes happen. And like I said, my friend who just passed away, and I figure my dad probably passed away from a similar thing. Figure he was murdered, and I think it's the company and the corporation who did that because the one guy said, "Well, they wanted me to." I don't know exactly what it is, but they said they were going to do it from the inside. So I figure now that my friends and family started acting a certain way, and Edwin, I'm sure you won't mind if I mention your name when you put shenanigans on Facebook, and then all of a sudden I ended up in Prince Albert, Saskatchewan. I was working there for a little while, and I found a place called Shenanigans. So it's just like that. And Sonny had written "Do the right thing," and then I was working at Shell, and their safety motto is "Do the right thing." And so it's just things like that. It's just to make you paranoid. It's not no big deal, but don't let that pain response change your mind. You can get through this. So they're just trying to control you. So this thing Jason Reborn had put on here. He has a list of sometimes conversation on the phone. Yeah, you'll have voices in the back. You hear voices from TV and uh, and there's some. Okay, what's this? And somebody else that had wrote that when they're sitting there and somebody else is talking, that they think those the people who are actually talking, it's meant for them. That's your mind. Don't internalize those thoughts. Don't take anything personally because that's just a mechanism of control. That's what they want you to do. That's how they start off. And then I see it all the time, and it's scary working around people like that because somebody else will be talking and they'll say something, and these guys will automatically like touch your glasses, or you'll say ear, and some guy will just it's just they're starting to be conditioned to just like hearing something and doing it, and That's a scary prospect, but there are people out there, and that's part of the conditioning. Is so you got to just be careful not to do that. And this Adam Reborn had made a list, and I think it's some good advice. Double check, triple check, and your actions, and don't give into your impulses. That's what I was saying about. I think we should just go through this list. You will not do what as they say. That I think it's about to run out of time, so we'll go to video number 3.